Yo, what is poppin', everybody? Motivzz back with another video. Now, today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 things distracting you from God. Now, if you guys want to join a part of the Motivzz movement, all you guys got to do is simply show any type of support on this video, whether that's liking the video, hitting that subscribe button, or turning on those notifications. Now, let's get straight into it. What are these things that are distracting you from God? Well, the first thing that is distracting you from God is your desires. See, back in the day, young Tibbs thought that he was going to be a pro video gamer. He thought that he was going to amount to all the desires that he had, but he never did. Why was that? It's because it wasn't in God's will or timing. You see, I used to pray to God every single day. I used to pray to him, tell him, oh, please, God, please, I want to become a pro video gamer. Please let me be a pro video gamer. I used to say, please, God, give me this chance. Give me this one chance. Please, I want to be a pro video gamer so bad. Please. Bro, this was not in God's will or desires. And in fact, even if I did become a pro video gamer, right, I would still have to amount to the things that I learned today. I would still have to be on self-improvement. I still would have to have a relationship with God. And in fact, if I even did become a pro video gamer at that time, I probably would have been way more distracted. And I probably wouldn't have been connected to God up until this point. Like, my self-improvement journey probably wouldn't have started until years after I became a pro video gamer. And who knows, maybe I wouldn't have started at all. Maybe I would have been so distracted by the things of this world that I would have never actually gotten connected with God. Now, the next thing up on this list is social media. See, all of us use social media. We spend at least a few hours a day on social media, but we cannot even spend a minute to thank and appreciate God. Motivzz, I'm not getting any dopamine from reading the Bible. Like, I'll get much more dopamine from going on the hub and releasing to random strangers, or I would get more dopamine by watching that Netflix movie that just came out. But my boy, you are literally pleasing the devil by doing this. See, because it's not gonna matter how many likes or followers you have on social media, because at the end of the day, you are either going to heaven or you're going to hell. You are either going to the kingdom of darkness or the kingdom of righteousness. Either way, these likes and followers is not going to transfer into those statuses in life, right? So you may be asking, Motivzz, why do you use social media? Well, 99% of the time, people that use social media, they use social media for instant gratification, including myself. For many, many, many years, I've been using social media the wrong way. Social media, you know what I'm saying, it's supposed to be social, right? We're supposed to be social on social media. But why do we feel so distant? But my boy, there is a small percentage of people out there that actually use social media to their advantage. For example, me. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't be as connected with God, or I wouldn't have the physique I have right now if it wasn't for the internet. So if I, someone who was skinny fat and did not have a relationship with God and was a victim to lust, can change my life, I want to inspire others so they can too. Now, the third thing up on this list is school. See, school took up a lot of our free time, especially in our younger age. From kindergarten to 12th grade, we were spending 6.5 hours a day in a building we didn't even want to be in. We were spending 6.5 hours a day doing work we didn't want to do. But I mean, thankfully, I didn't grow up with the LGBTTV community. I didn't have rainbows spreading around in my community at the time. Because, you know what I'm saying, rainbows back in the day, rainbows were awesome. Like, I'm not talking about, like, sucking on rainbow popsicles. But I'm saying, like, rainbows were actually cool looking back in the day. But now, it's a whole different meaning. And if it wasn't enough that 6.5 hours of our day was being taken away, we also had to do homework. So we had to go home. You know what I'm saying? There's only a certain amount of like daylight outside, because when you go home, it's already like, there's only like 3 hours of the day basically. So then you got to do homework on top of that. So basically 75% of our days were literally just like in the school mindset. And that was completely distracting us from God. I mean, do you think that God is going to make you use y equals mx plus b in heaven? Like, do you think he's going to ask you, hey, Motivzz, or hey, viewer, what is y equals mx plus b? And if you don't answer this question correctly, you're not guaranteed into heaven. Like, no, my boy, like, we're not using all these mathematical equations to get into heaven. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not going to supply us. This is not going to actually satisfy us throughout our lives. Like, I've still, to this day, I've still never used the equation y equals mx plus b in anything in my life. And the work these kids are getting from school nowadays is not getting any easier, because I literally had to help my little sister with her math homework the other day. And my boy, I could not even understand that stuff, bro. I was literally looking at the homework and I thought I was like reading a different language. I'm like, yo, all I see is a bunch of scribbles. X equals to the second power fraction divided by. I'm like, yo, bro, when are you going to use this in your life? And I mean, the whole school system is literally outdated. Like, this system that was designed was built 100 years ago. So it might have worked 100 years ago, but nowadays, my boy, things are constantly evolving. You know what I'm saying? Technology, every generation is different. Every generation is experiencing something different. and we're still in this 100-year-old curriculum. I'm not gonna lie, when I graduated high school, I thought all of the schools around the world would shut down. Like, I'm like, okay, I spent too much of my youth. I spent like a third of my life in this building, in this school curriculum society that is outdated for 100 years. But it is still continuing for generations and generations. And you know what I'm saying? I can't really change that. Well, unless you join a part of the Motivzz movement, then maybe we could start a big movement. But until then, we can't do anything. All right, but the next thing on this list is work. See, society is designed to work. I mean, just like I said, school, that system that we are using from 100 years ago is still being used to this day. And I mean, how are we going to generate the income to support our families, right? But I'm just going to say this, no matter how much money you have, I don't care if you're Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Mark Lizardberg, you cannot buy your way into heaven. Oh, but Motivzz, what about all the good things and all the money and everything they've supplied this world with? My boy, your good deeds do not matter. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing good deeds or continue doing bad ones, but I'm just going to say this. If you were put into court, the judge is going to look at you, and in this trial, he's going to look at you and say, Motivzz, you see all these bad things you have done? These are the things that you are accounted for. This is the reason why you're here, is because of those bad deeds. But then you're going to say to the judge, oh, but judge, I've saved 1,000 puppies in my life. Surely you should let me go. Nah, my boy, he's not going to let you go. Why? Because he's looking not at the good things that you did, but the bad things. And since we have all sinned, we technically should all be in that jail cell right now, right? But nah, my boy, this is where Jesus comes in. This is where Jesus, he is the jury. He switched places with us. He died on the cross for us, for our sins, so that we could be free. Now, the very last juicy thing on this list is partying / drinking or smoking. See, when you do these low vibrational things, these low vibrational worldly activities, you are basically setting yourself up to be attacked by these demons, because you are vulnerable. You are making yourself vulnerable. And my family is literally a target and a victim to this, because there are people in my family that drink. My dad, you know what I'm saying, he smokes and drinks. And all these things that you do not only are ruining a relationship with your family and friends, but also distracting you from God. See, when you do these activities, it never ends up good, because not only are you destroying yourself, you are destroying the people around you. You are setting the people around you and yourself up for failure. And on top of this, it is literally affecting your health, your lungs, your eyes, your brain. Like, all of these things that you do that you think is good at the moment usually has a consequence later on. Your lungs get damaged from smoking, your liver gets damaged from drinking. If you're going to these loud parties, your ears are going to be affected as well, because you know what I'm saying, like when you go to these loud parties, these speakers are booming and thudding, and it's going to be all into your ears. And by the time you're like 50 years old, my boy, you're literally going to be deaf. Oh, but Motivzz, you got to enjoy your life. You got to take a step back. You actually have to have some fun. My boy, if you are doing these low vibrational activities, clearly you are disconnected from God, because if you were connected with God, you wouldn't be doing these things. You wouldn't be doing these low vibrational activities, because these activities will never satisfy you, because the only thing that will satisfy you is God. So in order to stop doing these low vibrational activities and get right with God, you have to rebuke the kingdom of darkness, because on this channel, we embrace the kingdom of righteousness, of lightness. Have a blessed day, y'all, and remember to keep surpassing your limits, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.